Welcome to the Manifestation Babe podcast. My name is Catherine Zinkina, and I'm a manifestation expert, master mindset coach, and multiple seven-figure entrepreneur. I'm obsessed with helping you achieve everything that you once thought was impossible. If you're looking to massively up-level your life, your finances, your relationships, your productivity and success, then you have come to the right place. My goal in this podcast is to help you see the infinite potential within yourself to be, do, and have anything that your heart desires. Think of this podcast as your weekly dose of mindset development to help you maximize who you are and where you're going. Leave it to me to provide you with the tools, the resources, the strategies, and teachings that you need to manifest a reality wilder than your wildest dreams. I know we're about to have so much fun together, so thank you so much for pushing play today, and now let's begin. Hello, gorgeous souls, and welcome back to the Manifestation Babe podcast. I am super excited to connect with you once again, and I hope you guys are having a fantastic holiday season. At the time of this recording, Brennan and I are actually hosting Christmas Eve dinner for the very first time in our life, pretty much, where we are actually the ones who are hosting. We're inviting friends and family over to our house, including my mom's dog, Professor Snape. Yes, that's literally his name, Professor Snape. We actually call him Snape. And he's a 150-pound Black Russian Terrier who's coming over to our condo and going to spend the night. And I'm just so freaking excited because I get really excited about dogs and the little cute things in life. Actually, he's not little at all, but you guys know what I mean. So I was in an amazing breathwork class last night. And if you guys have been listening to my ayahuasca series that I recorded last week, I have been raving about breathwork, and I finally found a studio that does breathwork on Monday nights here in Santa Monica, and I highly recommend this studio. So I plan on going as often as possible. They have this specific breathwork class every single Monday. So if you guys want to come and join me and do some breathwork together, do some sound healing, they also incorporate some Reiki in there. So it's like a breathwork, sound healing, Reiki class. It's about an hour and a half at 7:30 p.m. every Monday in the Santa Monica area. The studio is called Be Crystal Clear. I would love to meet you there. Say hi if you see me. It's a really, really good time. And while I was in breathwork class yesterday, I have to admit, it's one of the most uncomfortable things you can do. The instructor yesterday was talking about how breathwork is called breath work because you're not just laying there and breathing like you normally do. You are working your breath, and the breath is very connected to the processing of a lot of emotion that is stuck inside your energy field. And breathwork is one of the most powerful ways to release old traumas and hurts and pains and suffering and invite, by creating more space to invite more positive things into your life. And I just love it. And yesterday's breathwork class was the first one that I did outside of Rhythmia. So it was a slightly different, but same effects. And it just blew my mind. However, it really inspired this podcast episode because the process of breathwork, at least the first 5 minutes, are so fucking uncomfortable. It's like whenever you do it, you're like, why am I here? Why am I doing? My body is cramping and it's tingling and I don't feel good and my ego keeps telling me to stop. But you just know, like your higher self knows to just keep pushing and pushing and pushing because whatever it is that you are working through, you will get on the other side and you will feel so much better. And the way to get to bliss is to release all of that discomfort and to work through all of that discomfort. And then what I love about that class is that after you're done, they go right into sound healing and Reiki. And which is so beautiful because after you're blissed the F out, after you feel so good, you release. I literally screamed, you guys, yesterday. I screamed at the top of my lungs. Whatever I had to release last night it just came out of me, and I feel on top of the world today. So it was really, really good. But the facilitator was talking about, and this is really the inspiration, because it really connects what I learned about myself and what I learned about the nature of discomfort from my ayahuasca ceremonies last week. And again, you don't have to do ayahuasca to learn these lessons. You don't have to do ayahuasca to have big breakthroughs in your life. I'm inviting you to breathwork. I highly, highly recommend it. It's very similar in the sense that no, you are not taking a psychedelic drug, even though it's not a drug, it's considered to be medicine. But you are actually, you guys, if you hear any sounds coming from outside, unfortunately, they're doing construction right by my apartment, and I so apologize. I'm going to make sure that my team will take care of the audio as best as possible, but I don't want to stop recording this episode. We're just going to have to work through the discomfort. So apologies in advance. But anyway, the facilitator yesterday, I was talking about how you don't necessarily have to do ayahuasca to receive the kinds of breakthroughs that change your life. Like there are other things that you can do, and breathwork is one of them. And so yesterday, the facilitator was talking about how the extreme discomfort that you're going to feel, make sure you truly feel it, because if you don't let it go, it's going to pervasively just continue in your day-to-day life. And what he means by that is while you're feeling it and you're tapping into that feeling, it's because you are releasing it. And if you just go with your ego and stop and just breathe normally and say, fuck this process, I'm not going to do it anymore, then you are just going to take that energy home with you. So you might as well go through this process, go through the discomfort, and know that what is coming is also going. What is coming is also leaving. And so at Rhythmia, in one of my journeys, as I was sharing with you guys last week, that ayahuasca told me, Catherine, stop numbing it. Stop numbing everything and just start loving it. And there was a moment when I felt so much discomfort that I literally couldn't handle it anymore. And I told her, because I'm talking to the spirit of ayahuasca, please stop. Like, I can't handle this anymore. I'm so uncomfortable. And she said, so what if you feel uncomfortable? You feel like this every day of your life. So why not just work it out right now, intensify it so that you can truly let it go? And I was like, oh my God, you're so right. You're so right. You are so, so right. Okay. So how this relates to this episode, obviously I want to bring this, make it applicable to you guys. And I want to talk about your biggest goals in 2020. So we are approaching a brand new year, right? And we all have these big visions, big goals for what we want to manifest in 2020. And your biggest goals will most likely have some level of discomfort attached to them. It's just the nature of going after what you've never went after before. You are stepping outside of your comfort zone, and there's going to be some sort of discomfort attached to it, okay? And I want to help you guys work through this from what I've learned in my breathwork class, from what I've learned from my ayahuasca ceremonies. I want to give you guys a practical way for you to really release discomfort from your life. Not so that you would never feel it again, because that's part of growth. Discomfort and growth go hand in hand, but so that you no longer let this energy, because emotion is just energy and motion. So I'm going to call it an energy, so that you don't give up your life and all of your power to this energy. Unfortunately, people are professionals. We have become professionals at avoiding discomfort because most people aren't necessarily soul-driven. They've never been taught to be soul-driven. We don't go to class or school our whole lives and taught how to, feel our feelings and what does our soul want us to do. No, we are indoctrinated into this system where we are taught what we're supposed to want and what we're supposed to achieve and what's socially acceptable. So people have become professionals at avoiding discomfort because they've become ego-driven. And I don't mean ego-driven as in self-centered. What I mean as ego-driven as in fear-driven, comfort zone-driven, just getting by-driven, or achieving just enough so that people don't judge you or you don't judge yourself or whatever, right? There's so many things I can say about the ego, but the most important thing that I want to say is soul driven means like love driven or faith driven or desire driven or what you truly want driven, and ego driven means fear driven, scarcity driven, separation driven, lack driven, right? It is just an illusion. And again, as I always say, there is nothing bad about the ego. There's no good or bad here. The ego is very necessary for our survival in the 3D physical world. It's how we attach our souls into our body. If we didn't have an ego, we'd just be floating around, and quite frankly, we wouldn't be experiencing our life. So ego is a very good thing. And again, I say good loosely because there truly is no good or bad. There just is. This is the nature of reality. But because so many of us have become ego driven, we've gotten really good at numbing. We numb, we ignore, we distract ourselves. We don't truly feel our feelings. We ignore discomfort, or we try to distract ourselves from discomfort, or we just simply avoid discomfort at all costs. And you see, the ego loves staying in the comfort zone because it just perceives it to be safer there. The soul is the soul is about thriving, and the ego is just about surviving, right? So your comfort zone is perceived to be safer. And so your ego perceives you to have a better chance of surviving inside of your comfort zone than outside of your comfort zone, right? But while you think you're avoiding discomfort successfully, like by not going after what you truly want because it's so uncomfortable, and you're like, you know what, I'm going to avoid that. And you think you're avoiding it successfully. But what I actually learned, you guys, that makes a difference, that makes a massive difference, that I hope lights a fire under your ass to just feel the fucking feelings and go after your dreams anyway, is that you're actually pervasively continuing the cycle of suppressing your discomfort by not choosing to feel it, by not choosing to act in spite of it, by not seeing it as an opportunity of growth. You're actually, when you're avoiding it, numbing it, distracting yourself from it, or avoiding it at all costs and staying inside your comfort zone, you are pervasively continuing the cycle of suppressing your discomfort. You are just suppressing it. You are never releasing it out of your energy field. And so what ends up happening is that as time goes on, it just gets worse and worse and worse and stronger, stronger, stronger. And, maybe sometimes it's a more of a subtle thing because you've gotten so good at suppressing it. But you find that, for instance, we have all seen these people. There are people who grow old and they end up realizing that they never created the life that they truly wanted to create, and they got super resentful. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen like old people who are just angry and pissed off and resentful, right? I always perceive those people as people who have chased lives that aren't theirs, people who have listened to their egos their whole lives instead of their souls. And quite frankly, like if you refuse to go after something, or if you're afraid of something and you constantly hesitate and procrastinate, that resentment inside of you just grows and grows and grows and grows and grows. And when you're living out of alignment and you're pursuing nothing, right? Some of us perceive that pursuing nothing is going to be better than pursuing something, because pursuing something might lead to disappointment, or might lead to discomfort, or might be scary, or whatever it is. But those of us who pursue nothing and don't pursue our desires because we're afraid of discomfort, we're actually already uncomfortable. So you are at a baseline of discomfort. Your soul, okay, your soul, the one that you hear the quietest, because unless you have mastered, the difference between hearing your ego versus hearing your soul, and you're so used to just constantly hearing the voice of your ego, you hardly hear your soul. Okay, so it's quieter, it's a little more subtle, but there's a consistent level of discomfort that your soul is already experiencing by you not pursuing your desires, by you not experiencing the joy and the thrill that comes from living your biggest, most expansive life. People have gotten so good at ignoring their souls, and they barely even hear it, that they don't realize that their unhappiness, any level of unhappiness or pain or suffering, is actually just the underlying pain that you are feeling, or that someone is feeling from not going after their dreams. So by you constantly avoiding discomfort, you're not actually avoiding discomfort, guys. Your soul stays very, very uncomfortable because it's crying for you to grow. It's crying for you to evolve and for you to expand and truly understand the God presence within, that you are one with God and you are a creator just like God or universe or whatever you resonate with, by you ignoring that part of you, your soul is just in pain. It's already uncomfortable. So that is actually way worse than any other temporary discomfort that you might feel coming from your ego, which of course is going to be louder. It's going to come with a bang. It's going to feel actually worse, but for a very temporary short time, because your soul will always overpower your ego once you figure out how to train it, how to train yourself actually to live in alignment with your soul. Your soul doesn't need any training. It's divinely perfect. But until you train yourself to follow your soul, to be called by your soul, to, I don't want to say obey your soul, but in fact, like what I mean is listen to your soul. Like what it wants, go after it, because it's always going after what is for your highest good and what is going to expand you. And, discomfort, the feeling of discomfort, you might be feeling uncomfortable right now as 2020 is approaching and you have these big goals and you're like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? This feels so scary. Oh my God, I have to put myself out there. I have to start the business. I got to take a loan. I got to do this. I got to invest in this. Like, oh my God. But discomfort, all it really truly is just a signal from our subconscious minds that we are about to grow. That's all it is. We're about to have a breakthrough. We're about to learn something. We're about to step outside of our comfort zones to achieve something we've always wanted. And every single one of our desires is on the other side of that discomfort. And when we truly allow ourselves to feel, like sit and actually feel that discomfort, what you will find is that the only way out is through, and this feeling will pass inevitably. It's impossible for you when you are in the process of feeling it to release it, for it to stay forever. The only way that it can possibly stay forever is by you constantly suppressing it down, right? So when we allow ourselves to feel and we stop numbing and we stop distracting and we stop hesitating and stop procrastinating, we actually release that energy that's stuck inside of us. And that is what I felt last week at Rhythmia when I was having a really hard time. It was because I was feeling so much discomfort that I never even realized was actually inside of me. It wasn't anything new. It wasn't coming from some outside force. This is stuff inside of me that is rising from the depths of my being and rising to the surface so that I can release it. Right? So as you are going after your goals and you're feeling discomfort, it's not that your goals are bringing you discomfort. It's just that those goals are mirroring some discomfort that's already inside of you that you just need to feel and you just need to release, right? Because it's just energy, and emotions are energy in motion. And the only way out is to feel them, and it's to get through them, okay? So that's why they say, a very, very common phrase that you've probably seen a million times on Instagram. I've said it myself too. That's why they say, feel the fear and do it anyway. Because by feeling it and doing it anyway, you actually let go. You stop holding on to it, rather than hesitating and pushing that energy back inside of you to build and build and build and build and build and build at a later time. And again, that discomfort always stays. So when you refuse to take action on your goals or do something brave or courageous when it comes to pursuing what you really want in 2020, by you not pursuing it doesn't mean, I successfully avoided it. Good. I don't have to worry about it anymore. Okay, fine. I'm just going to stay in my little comfort zone. You didn't actually avoid it. That energy just went back inside of you, and it's going to build up and build up and build up and build up and build up later on. So you might as well release it. You might as well go after what you want, because that is the only way to release it. You see, the ego distracts from discomfort, but the soul is actually inviting it constantly to rise up to the surface so that you can actually grow. Okay, so let's turn this into something practical. Is there a goal right now that you have for 2020? First of all, if you have not set your goals yet, I have a boot camp for you. And even if you've set your goals, maybe you're not doing it right. Maybe you're not doing it in a way that's soul aligned and in alignment with with manifestation rather than hustle and force, right? So I have a boot camp called Epic Way Aligned that's closing in just a couple of days. You can find that boot camp in the show notes, or you can find it at manifestationbabe.com/links. So if you haven't yet really planned out your new year, I highly recommend you get inside this boot camp because it's the only time I ever do 3 live workshops in a week where you and I are going to go through the workshops live, and we're going to let go of your past first, really set your goals for 2020, and then create a plan for you to do so while also integrating it into your subconscious mind so that you are in alignment with manifestation and with your soul, and it all just unfolds on autopilot. It's a really cool process I take you through. So make sure you sign up for that if you have not yet. But if you already have all your goals lined up and you feel good about them and whatever, look for the ones that make you uncomfortable. And hint, hint, all of them should make you uncomfortable, because if you aren't feeling discomfort, that means that the goals are very easy for you to achieve. It's like a no-brainer. And if you're setting no-brainer goals, then why haven't you already achieved them, right? So there really is no point here. So take out your list of goals or think of one goal that makes you uncomfortable. And if you're driving right now, make sure that you are not driving as you're doing this process. So perhaps just listen to it. And I suggest all of you just listen to this podcast to the very end. And then I will actually I will write down the process in the show notes. So if you want like the written process of what I just said, I'm going to put that in the show notes so that you have that, so that you're able to actually take the time for yourself before 2020 comes around, where you can actually do this process. Okay. So you can actually release these emotions, especially if you can't make it to a breathwork class and you have no desire to go to somewhere like Rhythmia. This is perfect for you. So find a goal that makes you uncomfortable, like scares the living bejesus out of you. Okay. I want you to write that goal down. And then the second thing I want you to do is to list down all the reasons why that goal scares you. And I want you to write down like the different meanings that you've attached to that goal. Like, what does that goal mean to you? Or what feelings does that bring up? Like, why does this scare you? What's the worst thing that could happen? And what's making you uncomfortable about it? So get crystal clear on that. And then what I want you to do is I want you to sit in meditation for 5 minutes. And by meditation, I don't mean like the kind of meditative state where you're not really thinking about anything, like you're trying to find a place inside your mind where there is no chatter. Chatter is actually welcome here, okay? So I just want you to close your eyes and I want you to connect with your breath for just 5 minutes. You can set a timer. And all I want you to do is to observe how all those fears make you feel, okay? It's a feeling meditation. And as you're allowing those emotions to build and think of all the worst case scenarios and why you feel fear and why you feel discomfort and why it scares you, I want you to just breathe through them. Visualize that you're taking in these deep cleansing breaths. And then as you exhale, you're just releasing that emotion. You're just moving it through your body, through your breath. Okay. And I want you to take deep intentional breaths. So not just shallow breaths, but like really, really deep breaths. And after just a couple of minutes, and I'm telling you guys, you can do longer than 5 minutes. And I would say that if it's lasting longer than 5 minutes, you really go through the process and maybe tag on another 5 minutes. But I want you to sit there and notice as you feel them that at first the emotion is going to build. It's going to get stronger and stronger and stronger, just like in breath work. It gets more and more uncomfortable for the first couple minutes. And then what will happen and what you'll notice is that all of the charge eventually starts to dissipate because you've successfully started to move that energy out of you. And I want you to keep breathing until you no longer feel that charge. You no longer feel that discomfort. You are just an observer of your own fears, of your own worries, of your own anxieties, but you're not engaging them anymore. You're not charged by it. You're just like, oh, interesting. Okay, I feel a certain way. That's cool, whatever. And you're just becoming the observer of your own mind or the observer of your own emotions. You're not engaging them. You're not truly feeling them anymore because you've done the work. You've felt them and now they've dissipated. And then after that, the mantra for you is, I am comfortable being uncomfortable and I choose to grow through discomfort. Again, I'm going to have this all written in the show notes. If you want the written version, it's going to be there. Again, chant a couple times. I am comfortable being uncomfortable, and I choose to grow through discomfort. And then the next step I want you to do once you're done with that is to write down underneath that goal, write down that goal again, or maybe just continue on, all of the ways that you will benefit in your life once you achieve that goal. I want you to spend the next 5 minutes after you've written down all the amazing things that are going to happen in your life once you've achieved that goal and you felt the fucking fear and you felt the discomfort and you achieved it anyway, and how good it's truly going to feel. And I want you to spend the next 5 minutes visualizing how manifesting that goal is going to positively impact your life. And then I want you to breathe through that. But when you're breathing this time, you are inviting and anchoring in that feeling. So you are breathing into your body all of those positive emotions, or all of those good feeling aligned emotions, or shall I say more empowering emotions, emotions that are serving you. Because again, no good or bad. I had to learn that last week, and I know I keep saying that, but there truly is no good or bad. There's only what's serving you and what isn't serving you. So invite in all the emotions that will serve you and will actually help you when achieving these goals. And then I also want you to, as you're visualizing, I want you to feel as if the goal is already done. So you're coming from that frame of mind, not like you're about to achieve it, but that it's already done. You have already achieved it. And then the mantra after that, once you've anchored in those feelings, is my success is inevitable as I courageously pursue all of my desires. My success is inevitable as I courageously pursue all of my desires. And then here's the important part, guys. And this doesn't necessarily happen right away, but you might have some inspired action that arises. But as you have just created space, because that's all we're doing here, feeling your feelings or just creating energetic space, you will have a nudge, or you'll feel inspired to do something. Some sort of inspired action is going to come your way. But when this inspired action comes, you guys, you take the fucking action. You do not hesitate. And even if that discomfort arises, you feel it, you breathe through it, and you take that action. Okay? Because the only way to let it go is for you to take the action in spite of feeling discomfort and in spite of feeling fear. That's the only way you'll ever actually move through and let it go. Again, by not taking action, you're not avoiding the hard work, because it's going to get harder and harder and harder as time goes on, because all you're doing is you are basically swallowing that energy back into your energy field. And if you ever wonder why you might have a pattern of constantly attracting certain things into your life, it's because it's probably still sitting in your energy field. And the way to release it is to feel through it, is to forgive yourself, is to bring in acceptance and self-love and all of those things. I have so many different methods of letting go, but one of them in terms of, feeling feelings is to feel your fucking feelings. That's how you're going to let it go. Otherwise, you're going to suppress again. And again, we don't want to suppress any emotions. That's not the goal here, because that's what's creating this building of unhappiness inside of you. And that's what's going to cause you to resent your life if you don't ever truly go after what you actually want. You're just going to grow old and become resentful. And I don't want that for anybody. I want you to, no matter what your age is right now, it doesn't matter when you're starting, if you're just beginning or you're starting over or anything like that. I want you to understand that every day is a new beginning and you have time, but you must act now. You must act today. You must go after your goals, truly go after them in 2020. Don't just set don't just set some loose resolution for 2020, knowing damn well that you're going to give up on it come January 7th or something like that, or February. Like, I want you to really take your life seriously, because it is your life. Do you get what I mean? Like, it is your life that we're talking about here. This is not a story that you're reading in a book. Like, this is your fucking life. So it's very, very important that you go after your 2020 goals courageously and bravely, and know that you have the entire universe conspiring in your favor, and you have the assistance of every entity that you choose to believe in that is cheering you on every time you listen to your soul. And, take your ego into consideration, because if you don't, it's going to really act out. Like, listen to your ego, send love to your ego, but don't act from your ego, act from your soul. Okay. So I'm curious, as always, was this helpful for you? Did this spark a fire under your ass for 2020? Let me know by tagging me on Instagram. Take a screenshot of this podcast episode. As always, tag me. Let me know your aha moments, your takeaways, your breakthroughs. And of course, as always, thank you so much for sharing this episode with someone you love, or your audience, or your family members. It truly means the world to me. And this podcast has become my favorite place to hang out. So thank you guys for being such awesome listeners. Again, Epically Aligned is closing in just a few days, and I would love to hang out with you guys there. I would love to take this party to the next level and manifest our biggest, most expansive goals for 2020. It's going to be a really, really good time. Again, it's 3 live workshops. They will be recorded. If you can't join live, you have lifetime access, and it's going to be a really, really good time. So if you want more of my hacks on achieving any goal you set in 2020, I will see you inside of Epically Aligned at manifestationbabe.com/links. Again, manifestationbabe.com/links. I will catch you guys in the next episode. I hope you have a fantastic holiday season and a happy new year. And I cannot wait to chat more with you guys in 2020. And the next episode, whether that comes right before 2020 or in 2020, either way, I'll see you guys next year. Love you so much. Mwah. Bye. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. If you absolutely loved what you heard today, be sure to share it with me by leaving a review on iTunes so that I can keep the good stuff coming your way. If you aren't already following me on social media, come soak up the extra inspiration on Instagram by following @ManifestationBabe or visiting my website at manifestationbabe.com. I love and adore you so much and can't wait to connect with you in the next episode. In the meantime, go out there and manifest some magic.